Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode of Market Check. Today is a special day. We have our friend from Twitter, Louis, joining us as well. He has the fake brick background. Mine is the real one. He's got the fake one up. No. Don't buy into that smoke and mirrors trick. But we do have Louis joining us as well. If you guys are watching the recording later, I know people are just pouring in live here right now. The link, the first Twitter link in the description below is to his X account. So definitely go give him a follow. He posts a bunch of really great stuff for free, man. One of the more criminally underfollowed guys on X. I've been following him for a long time. I don't know how we initially met, but here we are, I guess. So I was like, I got to get this guy on the show, man. He's a hell of a trader. He gives all of his setups away for free, more or less. He's a really nice guy. So give him a follow. Again, that is the first Twitter link in the description below. He's a great follow. But the title of today's show is Did You Sell the Lows Before the Golden Bull Market, Anon? Market check. Well, we're going to discuss all of that and more. What is this? I'm back with the gallon of milk son has joined us. Okay. So we also have maybe another special guest. But guys, today's going to be a fun day. I'm seeing a lot of constructive price action across the board. You know, we discussed this a couple weeks ago. We said, look, you know, we're approaching the end of April. The theme of the past 6 months in the market, specifically crypto, has been, you know, key points being front ran. Right. A really notable one would be up until this most recent Bitcoin halving, price has never exceeded the previous cycle all-time high before a Bitcoin halving. In my opinion, what we saw was a front run. We saw things get front ran. Okay. We've seen a lot of things happening a little bit quicker than they normally do, not giving people ample time to really get positioned. All right. So perhaps what we just saw in April being the first red month that Bitcoin or crypto has had in the past 7 months is another classic front run, right? Sell in May, go away. Well, maybe it was sell in April, go away. And now we're in May and maybe it's going to be the opposite. So I'm seeing a lot of constructive price action. Again, from a, you know, percentage drawdown standpoint, which is something that I focus on pretty intently, you know, from the previous local high here, or I guess all-time high for Bitcoin, just under 74K, Bitcoin pulled back 23%, which is the largest pullback that we've had in the past year and a half for Bitcoin. So a very notable pullback. Now we got the full crew. I think we're just still waiting on one more. But anyways, things are looking good out there. I think people were very bearish into the lows. You know, we're going to talk about that golden pocket that Tucker has drawn right there. But anyways, we're going to let's start with this, guys. Let's start with this. Tucker, would you do me a solid, man? Set the stage a little bit for us from a technical perspective. Is this going to end up being a deviation, bruv, or is this going to be a bounce into a complacency shoulder and further pain is to come? What do you think?
It's a good question, Max. It's a good question. I'm glad that you asked. Yeah, so let me just take all this off first. So I mean, just looking at quote unquote naked price, right? Like you're doing this kind of like, I don't even know what you call this pattern, but
That's the limp wiener pattern. We've already talked about that.
You know what I mean? I don't even know where you go with that, but we're hoping this can be a deviation, right? Like technically range lows, I'd call it like somewhere in here, right? So you would be hoping that this would turn into a deviation, bro, right? I would think it would need to be reclaimed somewhat quickly. You know, obviously there's like some normie trend lines, right? Like you got this that I was mapping out there, right? Like we would need to flip this guy. We need to flip like 59K. Also just this wick I think is important. I think you need to, so this is kind of a sticky area, right? In my opinion. Now you did bounce perfectly off this yearly VWAP, which is fantastic, right? I love that. Also, what we talked about yesterday, the pi cycle thing, right? The bottom EMA is right there. Okay, let me just zoom
And
out.
but by the way, all of that happened as Powell was taking the stage, man.
Yeah.
Who could have
So I
foreseen?
mean, like assuming a bounce here is not crazy at all, right? Like we probably do need to hold this, right? Like this yearly VWAP and Pi cycle thing, I think probably needs to get held. If not, you probably chew into more of these FVGs. I don't think you get down in here, but you know, the structure that we put in at 50, 51, 52K probably gets tested if you lose these MAs, right? And you know, I know some Tommy doesn't like to use MAs as SR, but you know, I beg to differ.
Because it's not real.
I'm
No,
seeing a
it's super
bounce
real.
off the
It's
MAs here,
super real,
Will.
bro.
Oh,
It's super real.
man.
No, I like
Yeah.
that level, man. That was I mean, that was a perfect when you talk about like everything coming together at one
Mhm.
point for like the utmost confidence and
Mhm.
utmost degree of confluence. It was precisely yesterday midday US time. You've got all of your high time frame levels coming into play. You've got, you know, the FOMC backdrop as well. You've got, you know, the May Open. You've got literally everything coming to a head right there at that moment. That was a really high probability place to set some bids or at least be cautiously bullish. No question about it, man. No question about it.
Mhm.
Anyways, I want to get some thoughts from Louis, man. So, Louis, could you do us a solid, man? First of all, welcome to the show. Thanks so much for tuning in. You told me yesterday you are actually a market check enjoyer. All
I
right.
am.
You are a market check enjoyer.
I think
And
I might. I hope I get to pull up the soybean chart. I mean, as long as these guys get the likes up. But
dude,
I am an enjoyer. I've been lurking, watching you guys for a long time, for sure.
I love that, man. I love that. Thank you so much for being a market check enjoyer. But now you have graduated to a market check contributor. All right. You are contributing to market check. And yeah, I mean, we could, you know, soybeans are kind of it's a sacred thing on the show. You know, we could probably let you pull up like cotton candy futures or maybe lean hog, but I mean, soybean is, I don't know if you're ready for that, man. That's a lot of pressure.
Max.
Yeah.
Hey, man, and everyone, by the way. And hey, Louis, nice to have you
Hey,
here.
Jack, it's nice to meet you, man. Tucker,
And
Tommy.
speaking of soybean, do you know that yesterday was the first day of the year when we didn't have to go to the soybean chart?
Yeah, it was.
That's how you know it's a bottom is when we don't have to go to the soybean chart.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
People were starving, as you said.
But here's the deal, guys. I'm gonna have Louis give you a quick little introduction. He's a TA guy. Louis and I have followed each other on Twitter for probably like 6 months or so. I don't really remember how we met. This dude is probably, dare I say, one of the more criminally underfollowed people, maybe on the entire app. Like out of every single individual on the app, he might be the most underfollowed. He posts setups all day long. He's a great trader. We've known each other on X for a while. His Twitter is down in the description. So if at any point he says something that you like, give him a follow. If he says something that you don't like, give him a follow and go make fun of him. You know, do whatever you got to do. But either way, follow him if you like him or you don't. But Louis, do us a solid, man. Tell everybody a little bit about yourself. Who are you? How did you get into trading? Where do you think your edge is in these markets? And, you know, you got your chart up in the background. I'm going to just pull it up. You don't have to do any live charting right now. We'll just kind of keep it up here for now. Do whatever you want, man. The mic is yours. Welcome to the show, Louis.
What's going on, everybody? Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. I am a market check enjoyer. I usually watch it on my drive home. I can't always catch it live, but I love coming in. You know, these guys are a great group of guys, and I feel like we align on a lot of viewpoints and stuff like that. So it's a pleasure to be here with some true professionals in this space. It's very hard to come by. So I'm happy to be here. And Max has been hyping me up. He's my hype beast lately, but I'm just a guy. And just been around crypto since 2018. Bought the top of the 2018 market. And I just never left. I was just so fascinated with it. I was intrigued by the markets, and I was fresh out of college. I basically skipped right over the stock market and I just deep dove into crypto. And that's kind of what I specialize in now. And I was mentioning on the spaces last night, basically, turned a small sum of money into, for what was at the time, still is, but a large sum of money for me, on top of the world, euphoria, this and that. And all I really knew was just following people on YouTube, like YouTubers like Benjamin Cowan, this and, people like that. And then when the markets turned for the worse, I kind of felt helpless. And like, most people and most YouTubers were like, oh, we're going 100K, this and that. And I was just kind of following that narrative. And I just had to sit there and watch my portfolio dwindle. I eventually said, forget this. Like I'm cashing out. I just had that feeling, and I ended up salvaging some, which, worked out well for me. I was able to scoop some cheap crypto up during the bear market. But at that point, I was like, I'm done being dependent on any one person to tell me what the market's going to do. And I basically just dedicated myself to learning everything I need to know and can about markets, technical analysis, trading, and hit the textbooks. I did all the courses, and I put in the work all throughout the bear market. Price was going down, price was going sideways. It was boring. No one wanted to talk about it. No one was here. Because Bitcoin spaces had like 10 people in them. And that's when you put in your work. And that's when I like to invest and stack my money in, because by the time people are talking about it, like they were at the highs at 70K, you're sometimes you're a little too late. Obviously this is just a pullback, but that's how I like to do business now. And so now here I am, almost 6 years now into this, and I'm a lot of my hard work is coming to fruition. So I'm happy to be here.
That's beautiful, man. I love that story. It's inspiring and it's relatable, because I mean, a lot of us have similar stories, right? Like you kind of get into it and you follow the wrong people and you get bad guidance, and then you kind of take it into your own hands, and things can change pretty quickly for you when you put in that time. So I love it, man. I love the grind. I love the hustle, the commitment, because it's not easy, right? A lot of people, when they, and everybody loses money in the markets in the beginning, like literally everybody gets their teeth kicked in. Everybody's been through that drawdown, that pain, that frustration. But most people, unfortunately, they lose a little bit of money. They have a rough time and they shy away from it. And they're like, oh, I think I'm done. That's not for me. But it takes a certain type of individual to lean into that pressure when the walls are caving in and say, you know what, that sucked. I know I can do this. I did it wrong the first time, but it's not going to happen again, So I commend you, man. Great job. Great job. And now look at you, now you're on Market Check, and you're, in my opinion, one of the best chartists I've seen out there. Like, you're honest and transparent, and your levels are great. I've seen you hit some absolutely incredible plays. But speaking of charts and your skills, maybe give us a little bit of a tease before we get too deep into the show, man. What are we looking at right here? What do you think about Bitcoin right here? Tell us everything.
I'm zoomed out here. At times like this, you got to zoom out. There's a lot of noise on the lower time frame. I mean, I'm on the lower time frame all the time just because this is what I do. But when you zoom out here, you can really see what I was saying last night as well. It's basically just we're in a 49-day right around here. We're in a 49-day consolidation into a high time frame demand. That's really all this is. And we're ranging, and we're going up, and we're going down, and that's going to give you those extremes of emotions. And these formations like this, we saw that this is probably like the third time we're seeing it on this run up from the lows. I mean, down here, we had this 214 sideways chop, and, everyone's bullish at the tops, and at the lows, they're bearish at the lows. And these are what I like to call like portfolio killers or destroyers. Like, especially if you're hopping on leverage in these ranges, you're going to get chopped up. You're going to be selling out the lows down here, and you're going to be buying the highs up here, and you're just going to get chopped to bits. This is nothing new. Right here, we had our 214 sideways consolidation before, going on our next leg. Here, we had a 60-day consolidation with this was a 20% drawdown. This was a 20% drawdown. And now, we broke the all-time high. Now we're in about 49 days worth of consolidation sideways. I know it feels like forever, but this is actually the shortest of the three so far. And right now we're currently at a 23% drawdown. So basically what we've been seeing this whole run up from the bottoms. And right here is basically what would represent a 30% pullback if we were to get that. I mean, things are looking good here. It looks promising for a potential bottom, but normally in historic Bitcoin bull runs, 30 to 35% pullbacks are normal. So we still haven't even got that yet. And of course, we're at the lows of this consolidation range, and that's when the bears are going to be the loudest. The same reason when bulls were the loudest up here, bears are going to be loudest down here. And that's just market psychology for you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So is it your opinion that this is just sort of a high time frame correction in a larger bull market or early stage parabola?
I believe so. Yeah. I mean, that's until proven otherwise, that's what this is to me. And another thing, we're ahead of schedule. Normally we're not at all-time highs or cracking all-time highs until way into after the halving. We actually reached all-time highs before the halving. So I know everyone's in a rush, but realistically, we're way ahead of schedule. And the fact that we're getting a pullback here is actually kind of I like, because when we were going on this trajectory, I was like, oh man, are we gonna get a blow off like into like May, like April, May, June? And like that would honestly probably would have shortened the cycle, to be honest. And I was getting ready. I was like, listen, like if things stay on this trajectory up, like I was like, okay, look, I'm getting ready to start pulling profits the next couple months. And of course, right when I started thinking about that, that's when we started getting our consolidation down. So right now, I think we're still looking good here. And like I said, just business as usual for now for Bitcoin.
Yeah, there's a lot of fear. And this is a bit anecdotal. I'm sure you've noticed it as well, Louis, but we've talked about it on here many times. Like the sentiment out there would make you think that Bitcoin is literally like at 15K again. People are fighting each other. People are so angry. Like the FUD is out there. And it's all kind of coming back into a high time frame technical correction like you have drawn here. So, I hope that I don't know if we're still kind of in the denial phase where people are like, oh, this isn't a real bull market. This time is different or what. But your charts make it look pretty clear, man. It really does.
I like to keep it simple. I like to say I'm the smartest idiot you'll ever meet. I'm no genius. I like to keep things simple for me, and that works for me. So.
Yeah. No, that's great. It's pertinent to not look at too much, right? Which is why one of the strengths, in my opinion, is that we have a big team at Because Bitcoin. Like, I can't look at 10,000 different tickers. I can't look at all of the derivatives data. I can't look like. I rely and I lean on my team because this market's too fast paced and it's too big, and there's too many different technical pieces to try to study all at once. So it's like you have to really lean into the simplicity of it. Like if you put on 5 different indicators here, it'd be littered with contradictions, right? It would be littered with contradictions. So you have to find stuff that is just, it can give you some sort of peace of mind, And that's what I love about your TA style. Do you have any other charts or anything you want to share here? We'll just kind of have a discussion, right? I know we're kind of opening with me just like hitting you with 20 questions or whatever. But honestly, like anybody else here, like any of the guys chip in, let's just have a conversation, right? But
I have stuff, but it's charted.
I have a question for Louis. Wait, I have a question for Louis.
Yeah.
Are moving averages being used as support and resistance or no?
Louis, this is a big moment, bro. This is a huge moment for you. Louis,
Don't
careful with this answer.
I'm being put on the spot. I use market structure, and I use EMA and SMAs every now and again. But it's not my main thesis.
So you're saying it's not 100% accurate, and it rarely plays
hang
out.
on, let him finish his answer. Let him finish his answer, Louis.
I mean, I like it. I like it. Like if I'm scalping and I'm like on the lower time frames, I'll use like EMAs and stuff as support and stuff like that. On the higher time frames, it just depends. It's whatever's working in that moment. I don't know. Sometimes market structure seems to work, and other times it seems like your EMAs or SMAs are working. So it really just depends on what makes sense.
Lou, we're best friends. I just want you to know that, because that's exactly what I told them, is that lower time frames, they work very well. Higher time frames, you're shooting blanks in the dark.
Yeah, it's
But,
more of
hey,
like a price area.
No,
discussing
no,
it.
Will,
that's not what you said at all.
no, Will, no, Will. Wrong, Will. Will's now lying, making stuff up. All right, that's
Now,
not
me
true.
and Will do have a similar. Like, I like to buy like the crap that no one likes. I like to buy those charts that look dead and no one's talking about. That's where I come in and I'm just like, all right, I'm buying this up, and I'll take an early fee all day.
Gotta recycle.
Yeah.
Recycle all the bag holders.
Do
They're
you
gonna
and
push
Louis
the
live in
grade.
dumpsters next to each other, Will? Side by side?
Bro, we use the same dumpster to stay warm every night. We put all the trash in there, light it on fire, and just warm our hands, and then we sleep in the dumpster beside that.
Foul, man. All right, Louis, what are we looking at here, man? What do you got?
So this is ETH on the 9 hour. This is something I kind of caught a couple of days ago, like earlier in the week. And I noticed that we got hit with the same fake out 2 times in a row. My phone's ringing. We got that yearly high here, and then they hit us with this double tap, the slow kind of rounding bottom, fake out, boom, dump, and they literally did it again. And we all fell. I fell for it. I wasn't zoomed out because, like, in these choppy moments, you want to be on those lower time frames. You want to catch the bottom. You start trading, and that's why I call these consolidations sometimes portfolio killers, because you could really do some damage to your portfolio if you're not careful. But they literally hit us with the same move twice. And now I tweeted out the other day, and I was like, wouldn't it be funny? Because now if you actually look at it on the inverse, it's kind of doing the same thing, but to flip it. So like we got this 1 tap, this 2 tap, we got the rounding bottom, and now we're coming down and we're getting this deviation here. So I basically said I would like to bid down here and watch it to swing back the other way. And right now, it's looking like that's what it's going to do. And they're going to hit us with the same move, but we're going back the other way. And it's all really comes down to is pattern recognition, really what it comes down to. Like, no one taught me this. I'm just like, oh, crap, like this looks like this. And, oh, now it's going the other way. And that's really all it is. And it's looking good as of now.
As Tommy always says, and I love this, there is no supplement or replacement for time in the charts, screen time. And you're right, like a lot of it is just like understanding the manipulation that occurs, to trap traders, right? Just by staring at it. There is no supplement for just literally staring at the screen. So to me, when I look at this chart, and by the way, I bought more ETH at 2,900. I know Jackus, of course, got a better fill than me. I'm pretty sure he got 20 points lower than me. Many such cases of Jackus sniping the bottom. But we were all sort of in that camp that this appears to be seller exhaustion. We were looking for those equal lows right there, your bottom 1, 2 that you have marked out to get swept. And for that 2850, 2,900 to more or less hold, And again, and then even referencing the first chart that you showed with Bitcoin pulling back, 23% from its local high, or I guess previous all-time high now. ETH is now down 31% from its yearly high to the most recent local low. Historically, what we see is, a high time frame correction for ETH in a bull market that's between, 30 and 35%. So the big question is, like, how much more do you really expect ETH to bleed if we are in a bull market here? The Bitcoin halving was 2 weeks ago. So unless we're in a bear market, you're probably not going to get a 50 or 60% correction on a major like ETH.
Let me ask you the serious question. All right, Louis. 1, you stuck your head in the microwave and turned it on. 2, you know what you're talking about. All right.
Thanks.
Are we in a bear market?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
I was expecting a question about the Snickers, Will. I'm disappointed.
I'll be honest. I had no idea what to expect.
Here's the point, though. All right, great minds wear hats. That's all I'm saying. Okay, great minds wear hats, and so we can tell who the great minds are.
I think you just made that up. I don't think that's a real thing, but maybe.
Bro, you got hair under there, bro?
Yeah, I got hair.
I got nothing, man.
I got a little bit of hair.
I rock this. I can't shave every day. It takes too long. So
you guys have spent too much time getting stressed out in the markets. You don't have any hair left.
I had hair when I started in crypto. I always say that. I'm only 28 years old, but
Watch, Louis. You're gonna make a bag in crypto and then stop trading forever, and all your hair is gonna come back.
Exactly.
That's how it works. I do have I like how he shows the round, right? I discuss that a lot, especially on here and with you guys. And Snorlax knows because it's something I've taught them about too. It's like always those rounding patterns is what you want to look for distribution accumulation. I think HTF though the market looks phenomenal. I don't know if you got more that you want to cook on there, but if not, I got some charts to.
Yeah, no, go for it. I got some alts we could look at later if we got time, but yeah, I'll let you guys go ahead.
Unless you got more you want to ask, Max. I see your.
No, we're just rolling with the punches today, man. Like we're.
So I don't have control. You guys have the training wheels on me right now.
There you go, Will. There you go.
Will waffling about not having control. My gosh.
There you go.
So just so people know, because everybody is a hindsight master, this is a chart I made in 2022, right? Where I told people you're about to get fucking cucked, literally. And I mean, it played out pretty much to T. I can't get it to continue for some reason. It's stupid. But this is where I basically went through and I outlined and now granted, this right here was a rising wedge, but I outlined every single chart pattern in the chart. And this was a falling wedge, obviously rising wedge. Or you could look at this as a channel, right? Essentially before the drop. And then you had again another rising wedge, which ended up breaking down later on. This is why I think patterns are very important, but I'm more of a foresight guy. I'm not really a hindsight guy, like a lot of people who try to, be hindsight people. But going into that,
does anybody try to be a hindsight people, Will, or do they just not?
There's a lot of people who point to.
I don't feel like anybody goes and was like, you know what, I'd love to just be late to every move and just talk about it in hindsight. I feel like it just kind of happens to them, but they don't set out to do that.
Yeah. Okay, all right. It's their goal is not to be, but they put themselves in that box by focusing on the most ridiculous thing. Is that better? I think that's a better explanation.
I think that was beautifully said. Yeah, really elegant.
Yeah, don't put yourself in a box, all right? Don't pick up the Snickers. So here's kind of the outline I wanted to kind of get into a little bit. And it's this is something really important that I was paying attention to. And I discussed this obviously, with the Giga Chads. We won't give all the alpha, but we'll give some. And I think people need to look at context from structure from a market. Now, if we look at structure here from a market standpoint, and you've got this nice large uptrend, you got this nice uptrend on strength. And as long as you continue in the bull run to hold this uptrend here on the weekly, you're in a good spot, right? You're in a good spot. You're in a good spot to ultimately be looking for the market to continue up until it doesn't. Now, if you look here on this crossing position here, kind of like the moment you cross your trend and you break trend here, you're pretty much at the top, right? You're pretty much at the top. So that's where you first started here. You could have sold anywhere in here if you were buying here, which a lot of us were, right? A lot of us were buying here, which is essentially that's your heavy buys right here, right? It's the same position, same as that thing going on in both areas. You have this area and this area are identical. The only difference is if you shaved out this portion, now you've got the same thing, right? Now you've got the same thing. You just had to shave out the pandemic. That's it. So going into that from a structure standpoint, you could have caught the top of the market, essentially, right? Just by going off of strength by itself. And this is why I say strength is a leader, not a laggard, right? There's a lot of laggard indicators that people use and try to point to and try to say that they can prove price. No, leaders are strength. Strength is a leading indicator. Definitely, if you guys are interested in TA or wanting to understand TA, I'll tell you, look up lead indicators and lag indicators. Lag indicators are great for hindsight. Lead indicators are great for foresight and kind of seeing what's coming ahead. So RSI being a leading indicator, in that case, you could have taken the RSI position, sold out of your position anywhere's up here at the high, anywhere's up here, and ultimately bought the much, much lower. If you weren't looking to trade the range, I'm talking about just like your regular everyday Joe that bought at a certain point, wants to sell at a certain point, and buy back cheaper at a certain point, right? That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about traders. So in that scenario, this would have played out perfectly. Now we're back in the same boat over here in 2024. And we start right here, right? This right here was your bull div. That same bull div that we had back here at the lows is the same exact support that we're looking at currently for Bitcoin, right? It's the same support we're looking at currently for Bitcoin. And bears have fudded the market so much, they've actually forced the hand of the strength indicator to reach the low, right? So what does this mean? Well, this means that you're not going to see much more downside. You might see more downside, but on a high time frame, you're not going to see much more downside. You might see push into a little deeper here, maybe in like mid 50s, somewhere's in there. And I think at that point, you're at your low. But I'm going to point out a very important piece here. So let me just clear the chart. We discussed how it worked over here. I'm going to discuss how it's going to work over here. So we'll clear that up just to make this easier for everybody.
Man, Will, you got to clean your charts up. It's so much better being able to see it like this, bro. You got to. Yeah. This is good. This is good. It's too crowded otherwise, man. There's too many boxes.
Mark, so, did you teach Will the folders?
No, I should teach Will the folders, man.
Yeah, I know. I got to do it. I got to do it at some point.
You got to do it.
This is our run up here, right? This is our run up here. Ultimately, we can skip that out again. That was the pandemic. It did line up with the play, but that was the pandemic. So this is this, right? Think of it like that, because if we carve out the pandemic, this is this. That's what we're seeing here. And so in those two scenarios, because this is this, and you can see it's much smaller scale, obviously. We take, again, RSI over here. We run the strength. Now, we could do a line, but I think it works better if we just do something like a channel, right? We just run the channel, and we go off the channel here. Now, granted, it's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be close enough to where you can call this a true channel. So we'll kind of put it in there. You can see you got a little bit of deviation here and there, but for the most part, it's within the channel. Like, let's not be petty. I know the audience loves to be petty, but let's not be petty. All right. So moving into that, if you were to take just the strength indicator by itself and call tops and bottoms, right? Just this. Going into it, and now granted, one thing I say, and I say this consistently, is after you get a flush, you should buy the stairs, right? Buy the stairs, because stare down and stare up equals possible reversal. Stare down equals possible reversal, right? When you go through the elevator phase, you then go through the stair phase. The stair means you're close to a bottom, means you're close to a top. So if you buy the stairs and then you buy the stairs, right, on the retest. Now this one would have been a little bit harder, but it wouldn't have if you would have saw the bull div playing, right? You'd have been like, okay, I need a bid here just in case. Let's play as if the bull div's playing out here. And so that's what I did in this range, is I played as if the bull div was playing out here. But you could have bought all the fear here on the lows, right? And then you could have sold all the hype here at the highs. Bought the lows, sold the highs. Again, bought the lows, but this one was a little harder. But you should always expect a mid-range retest reversal. Sold the highs, right? And now we're back at buy the lows. So if you look at these, and I'm pointing at the strength indicator. If you look at these on the chart, these are tops and bottoms to a T on HTF. These are tops and bottoms to a T. There's nothing here that deviates to not be a top or bottom.
So Will, now the most important question that everybody's here for, all right? Since we're at a bottom here, tell us what you're expecting next, specifically, and why. All right? You set the stage beautifully. Now, what happens next?
Okay. So my thoughts are here.
No being a politician either. You can't dance around it. You got
I won't. No,
All
no.
right, all right.
I'm gonna give you 100% straight shot. All right.
All right. All right.
And I talked about this in a previous one. Is this?
Ooh.
So I talked about this in a previous video a while back. I'll have to dig it out. But it's potential for something like this. And this is a simple pattern. It's cup and handle, right? I think it was Eric brought it up to me the other day, and it reminded me of this. So I'm gonna have to dig out the old video from this. But he's like, "Doesn't this look like a cup and handle?" And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "It is a cup and handle." I was like, "But I wasn't expecting the cup and handle to play." Like kind of like Louis, I got a little bit caught off guard here, which is okay, right? They violated the low a little bit, got me. It's not a death wound. So we got the cup and handle play here. Now, does it play all the way into the range? We'll see. We'll see, right? Maybe they play a little deeper, maybe they play a little higher. But I think if your expectations are to fill your fib and you were to go high to low, right? Let's just go off of Fibonacci, and you were to go high to low. I'm not worried about this small deviation before the actual next leg. I'm just not worried about it. I'm not worried about day trading this. Like I'm worried about filling positions before I get absolutely wrecked to the upside.
So
now, granted, it won't move like this, right? It'll probably hesitate at the mid range and then probably come up here and then start to lead back into the bear.
So I like that. We have a similar target. And Louis, I see you in the background. You've got one of my favorite charts pull up. I think you had Pepe for a second. I can see it's a small screen. You had Pepe, and then one of my favorites, man. Would you be cool sharing those, man? Because they're pumping today. Like we need to talk about those. We need to talk about those. See, look at that, man. What are you looking at, Louis? This is incredible, man.
This is beautiful. Another just high time frame consolidation, right back to the old all-time high after this huge run up. I called this wedge breakout. We got it, but wedge breakouts, they never just break and just go. Like I wish it was that easy. They always kind of like come up and like, psych, there you go. Let me come back down. They can come here, they can come all the way back down to the lows. And yeah, this kind of broke out, kind of looked consolidated, dipped right kind of into this order block here, and it looks like it wants to smash this local high here. If we smash this local high, which also is confluent with here, we're right here. If we could smash this, I think this.
What's that level up there? Why do you have that target?
Who knows? I forget.
Who knows?
Yeah,
Random line I drew.
Wait, let me go. I'm in regular. I'm a big regular guy. Sorry, Max.
Oh man.
Yeah, no, but I'll go into log here. Let's see. Hold on.
You have log on, right?
Yeah, I just turned it on. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Yeah. So this is what I'm looking at. This is my first target area. I forget what this line is, to be honest. I think this was a measured move in regular format of the just the pole of the flag. But when you log it and we do a measured move, we're eyeing this 10 to 15 billion market cap. If we get this local high smash, I think this is a good area to eye up for Pepe.
And by the way, that's also a 2.618 fib extension that I have. Yeah. I'll pop right back over to your screen. I just want to show you real quick because there's a lot of confluence. So here's my chart. If we're looking at that 10 to 15 billion region that you're talking about, that would be right at the 2.618 fib extension that I have drawn. So definitely a lot of confluence right there.
And that's where a lot of like major alts kind of hit last cycle. Like if you look at a Matic or something like that, it went from it hit stalled out around 12 or 14 billion, and then I think it ended up topping out around 18 billion. So I mean it's not it could be the top, it could be another spot where we pause to consolidate and then we go for a final leg if you're comparing it to Doge and SHIB like Max does beautifully. But if you're looking at it as just a normal alt, like a leading alt in this cycle, this is a good area to be eyeing up. If you're, as a potential area to pause, for a local target for sure. That's what I'm looking at.
So we had a question for you.
Why so bearish?
We had a question for you here. Louis, what's your price prediction for Pepe this bull run? And the same thing applies to you that I said to Will. You can't be a politician. You have to answer it. All right. No dancing around it.
I mean, you guys are gonna think I'm very. I mean, I'm eyeing this area. And I probably will take profits around 10 to 15 billion. But the way Max has been laying it out beautifully, comparing it to Doge, I will be prepared for that final leg. And I think you're eyeing close to 50 billion market cap. I don't know what that price is, to be honest. I go level. I'm looking at this. If I go too far out and I start looking at 50 billion market cap targets right now, I'll miss an opportunity to take profits when I should be. I've done it multiple times, and I've been round tripped too many times. So I gotta just, level to level, and happy days. You know what I mean?
I think that's smart, right? The reason that I'm looking for 50 billion plus, one, there's some fib extensions that, are around that region. But beyond that, there's, what do we see cycle to cycle? There's sort of a ceiling that, gets imposed by, how a coin has previously performed. And what did we see last cycle? We saw a lot of like the new hot projects get stuffed between like 70 and 100 billion. We saw Doge and SHIB both, sweep 50 billion, and then that was a local top. And I feel like for a newer coin, like Pepe, I think you have to be eyeing down what SHIB and Doge did last cycle. Just as sort of if everything goes well, if the stars align just right, here's what's theoretically possible, and the ceiling was set last cycle. So I don't know what's going to happen. I love that 10 to 15 billion region. Like, I've got a fib as a point of confluence there. But I'll probably, if I do see a rejection there, I would maybe consider taking some profit. But yeah, give me that. Exactly.
Give me that.
But ultimately, I'd probably
I'll take it, man. I'll be here for it. Trust me. I'm not selling everything here, but I'll take. Is that what you're eyeing up? That 3618 on log, like around like a tenth of a penny here, like
give or take, pretty close. I think you're using a different fib tool than me.
Oh, okay.
But yes, somewhere around that region would be my ultimate target. So yeah, it's like I maybe I'll be shaving along the way. Like we'll have to see how things go, right? It is very difficult to forecast that far out. But if the stars do align, I am expecting 50 billion plus, unless presented with new information, right? Like there is a degree, like you said, level to level is going to be the winning recipe.
Can we talk about Bitcoin being at $59,300 right now, when everybody said it was going to zero yesterday?
Who said it was going to zero? I didn't say it was going to zero.
I'm just saying, like, CT was all over zero.
CT certainly was.
We gave the long entry live in the Discord this morning, man. At least I did. Like basically the Pico bottom.
Nice.
58.3, at least the New York session bottom, I should say.
This is that class. We've seen this a lot in the bear market too, where it would spike up, come right back down, chop, 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 and then it goes for the real move. This looks really good. And this is right at the bottom of this consolidation, like falling wedge, or whatever you want to call it.
I already know that somebody lost their net worth getting chopped up in that bottom range. I already know it. Somebody did.
Oh, yesterday? Yeah, I didn't even
look. Bought the highs and then got taken out at the lows and then shorted and then just got taken out again. It's over.
Someone who had directional conviction but forgot that macro events can still impact price.
Yeah, exactly.
This is why, like, honestly, Max, like, I just have been avoiding leverage because, like, I knew as soon as we got to all-time high, these guys are just going to chop, 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 and just keep on wrecking people. And I was like, all right, I just need to go spot here. I just don't even need to bother with the leverage. It's going to eat my account alive. Like, trying to leverage in this is ridiculous.
Yeah, 100%. I agree.
This is a key level too. So this is where you want to see it bounce. This looks good. And look at this volume packer we're getting down here. That's what you like to see.
If you flip 65, I'm hard I'm hard stop. Like I don't think that you're coming back if you flip
Even,
like 65.
even 62 here.
Yeah. Like I don't think you're coming back from there.
Yeah, we can get up here.
62 is the level I'm looking. Like you flip 62, forget about it, man. Louis, I actually have a really important task for you, brother. Can you pull up the soybean chart on the lowest possible time frame that you have? I'm gonna need you to pull up this.
I've never done it. What do I look?
If you don't
you're
have
under
the second
crypto,
chart, just let us know.
You have to go to commodities, or you can go to all. You can go to all.
Yeah,
that's
go to
probably
all.
fine too. And we're gonna pull up the soybean chart. Louis is gonna do some TA for us today on the soybean chart.
Is this Santos Platts?
That could work. That could be
works.
fine.
We'll go
that could be fine. Yeah. The lowest possible time frame that you can.
You
What
can't
are
even
we
see
looking
this
at?
on the 4 hour.
I like
we might
it.
have to go to a different soybean chart.
Yeah.
You guys, listen. Here's the deal. We are gonna need you guys to do us a solid.
Oh, nice.
What is this? Soy futures. I don't think this is soybeans. This is soy. That's fine though. That's fine.
Bunch of soy boys. You got to hit the likes.
Max, you remember when I put out soybean on Tuesday on that 1 minute and I did the TA on it? Do you remember?
It was fantastic. It was a masterclass. Yeah.
It worked out.
Did it really? Can you show? Do you have the drawing saved?
I do.
Can you show us? All right, guys. Listen. Here's the deal. Louis doing some soybean TA right now. Jackus is about to show us in hindsight how the TA he was doing on soybeans worked the other day. If you guys are enjoying the content, please do us a solid and hit that thumbs up button. I promise that we wouldn't ask if it didn't make a big difference. But the reason that we're growing so quickly is because of your guys' consistent support of what we are building here. Who could have foreseen? Who could have foreseen? Look at this.
It was live right here. And I was like, no, wait, I want to see this play out. Like, this is a fate. And back here, it looked like legit. It looked like this. I was like, this is a fate bump. And then we had to, you guys
go back and run the tape, guys. Go run the tape. That happened.
You guys pressed the like button and we had to flip the charts, but it played out so well.
Can we highlight Booty Bandit's comment?
Wait, say that one more time, Will.
No, don't say that again.
We need to go ahead and boot. Yeah, there we go.
So listen, guys, here's the deal. On YouTube, we have 325 people watching on YouTube. On Twitter, we have like over 1,000. Okay. Live. Okay. That means that if we should literally have a 1-to-1 like ratio. All right. But we understand some of you out there are stubborn and you're like, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to just absorb this free content and I'm not going to like it. They can't make me like it. But guys, it would be so epic if you could like the content. It really helps us grow. It helps boost the content. And we are so appreciative of the consistent support that you guys give us on a daily basis. Again, there's 322 people watching on YouTube. There's only 162 likes. Guys, that's like half of you have liked the YouTube. All right. Let's get 200 real quick. All right. We need another 38 likes. That's light work. Again, there's over 3 on YouTube. And the Twitter crew, you guys are not insulated from this type of pressure from me because you have a special super secret functionality that the YouTube crew doesn't have. You guys can hit that retweet button. And when you hit that retweet button, it's basically 5 likes in one. So help spread the good word, help spread the content, help more people learn and understand these markets and get guidance, help our channel grow. It's a win-win-win-win-win for everybody involved, guys. Hit that thumbs up. Hit that retweet. And if you're new here, please hit that subscribe button. Again, thank you guys so much for being here. Let's see how we're doing on the likes.
I have a feeling
185.
We're going to end up trading this.
Like 185, not bad.
It's probably easier trading this than crypto.
Crypto
is like banging my head against this brick wall.
The Bitcoin price action is really like total leverage trader death, man. It's pretty funny. Oh.
Bro, they are getting annihilated trying to leverage trade that. I watched some dude yesterday. He's like, I'm in a long here, just the spot, and it was like at 59K, and then it dropped to like 50. Says, "Oh, that dude's a liquidated." He come back up to.
We have 357 people watching now. We're 8 likes away from 200, guys. Jackus, can you do me a favor? Go to the lower time frames. This is not what we talked about, Jackus. 1 minute at least is way too high of time frame. Okay, 5 minutes is way too enjoyable. Yeah, Yeah, we need this.
I got a better chart than this, Jackus. If you could pull up the Truff, TRUFF.
By the way, do you guys know that Tucker had a birthday yesterday? So
Hey, happy birthday.
Tucker turned
He had a
19
birthday.
yesterday, guys. He turned 19.
21, bro. 21.
Tucker,
Hmm.
do you know?
Oh, what does that say? The hourly going. Do you understand? Remains ignorant, Jackus. Remain ignorant.
Hey,
All right.
Jackus, can you pull up the Truff chart?
What?
What
The
is
Truff
Truff?
chart.
What is Truff?
TRUFF.
This is a ticker I have not heard of.
I've never
Truff?
heard of this. What is Truff?
Yeah, there you
Is
go.
it
Yeah,
this one?
yeah. Go ahead and read that name for me.
I read
It's
it.
Oh,
Red-
Will, come on, man.
Red Light Holland Corporation.
If you know, you know.
Dude, straight
Ooh.
down. Maybe we are in a recession, man.
We were in a recession big time.
This is like a.
It's in
This
Amsterdam,
looks.
by the way.
This looks like a complete shitcoin that had a listing pump and back to,
That's
zero.
a Solana shitcoin, is what that is.
Yeah,
right there.
would.
And then pumps income in.
They're getting new hires
Got
soon.
the exit liquidity.
They
Wait,
gotta hire
you
new
said-
people.
New hookers?
New hires.
Yeah, it is. But dude, I heard this from somebody. I don't know if this is true, that strippers always know when the recession's here before everyone else because all their customers
clients,
just stop coming
yeah.
in. Yeah.
That's alpha.
Maybe this chart really is the recession indicator.
Oh, is that what that is?
No, the
I think
bottom's
this is-
in. That's
This
what
is
it's
the
telling
red
you.
light district chart,
Oh,
apparently. I've
shit.
never heard of
Okay.
it.
Just somebody.
Why do you even know about that, Will? Of course you live in Vegas too, Will. Of course.
Bro, how do you ask Will, how does he know about it? Like, he legit talks about prison and Snickers and dumpsters and all of that. So
Let's go back to the charts. We got to 200 likes. Louis, what are we looking at here, man? You got Caspa, one of my favorites.
Yeah, so actually someone pointed this out to me because I guess we were looking at Andy like this in this range. Same thing with Pepe. And then someone literally commented on Twitter, one of my new followers, it was like, this kind of looks like Caspa. And I had Caspa drawn completely different. I'm sure you've seen it, Max. But this is shaping up. I just keep seeing this setup. Like, it's I just see it everywhere now. Just like this kind of range formation, this slow bleed into range lows. And I mean, and we're getting some reaction down here. And I really like this view on Caspa, and this kind of consolidation, I think, is probably coming to an end soon. And I'm eyeing 25 cents easy for Caspa.
And Louis, I don't know if you saw this. Look at this. This is where I think Caspa's at, bro. Bitcoin's on the right. This was Bitcoin back in like summer.
I like the chart.
Yeah.
This looks the same to me.
Yep.
And the sentiment was the exact same. And to be fully transparent, I was expecting Bitcoin to go a little deeper. I wanted this, like one more deviation and then up. Never got it. But I'm looking at this now and I'm seeing people like shitting on Caspa wanting this. And then they're interested, and I don't think it's gonna come.
Once people want lower, it's not coming. You know what I mean? It's like once they're like, okay, now like, I've accepted it's going lower. Now I want just a little lower. That's it. The low's in.
That's what happened.
And you guys,
25.
speaking about it, like lately, I've seen so many people in my comment section starting to pull out log charts with lower targets. Like when I told, for example, on the Say chart, I posted a Say chart that it's going to drop quite significantly from the top, and then people thought like that's never happening. Now it happened, and people are sending me charts saying it's going to go way lower. That means what we discussed over the past days, that people are not being greedy on the lower targets. It's basically people at 18K Bitcoin waiting for 14K Bitcoin right now.
Ooh, yeah.
It may stay here for a while, all right? It may drop slightly lower, but I think most of these people waiting these lower targets are going to get front run.
Andy's catching up.
I tend to agree with that, Jackets, and that's just kind of been the norm. Like we've seen. I mean, Max, you remember when we were at 25K, we had some people that started name starts with an N that were saying we were going to 10, and it never happened. And then now we're sitting here at like 50. We were sitting at 55. People were talking about like 30K. I'm just like, really, where are you getting 30? You get a complete market structure break at like 40. Where are you getting 30K from? Because at that point, you're in a full-on reversal.
Well, Jackus said this yesterday too. Well, or it was you or Jackus, maybe both of you. You were like, people always call for like a lower level, and then it comes and they want even lower, you know?
Yeah, we were discussing it yesterday.
It's just funny. People just, they get greedy, you know? Like everybody wanted like, oh, 57's coming. And then we get there and they're like, oh, 49, you know? It's like, you just stop moving the damn, you know, the goalpost.
We were using it with the Bitcoin analogy when it was 40, 60K in 2021, people would kill for 20K, and then it came and people wanted 10K now, basically.
Bro,
This
think
is
about the
Louis'
low.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say this. Louis showed this setup to me yesterday, guys. I can't take credit for this chart. This is my screen, but Louis found this setup. Kind of interesting for a lot of different reasons. I certainly see
Andy looked good, bro. Like I looked at it this morning because somebody asked about it. I was like, oh, this is like a good set. So Andy's gonna either do that or it's gonna reverse back down to that low. One of the two. So I want to give, but I think the context for higher makes more sense than the context for
what I really like here, Will, and I know you'll like this, is that we're above the 50 now on the RSI.
Well, draw your trend line across all those highs too, because you actually do have room there.
Right here, you're talking about?
No, the tops.
Like
downtrend. Yeah. You do have room. You can actually pull it up a little bit more because you're a little bit low there. But you do have room there too. So even if people were looking for a bearish scenario, I would say it retests that trend at minimum, even with a bearish scenario. And here's the thing: that pop-up that he's got right there, yes, exactly. That pop-up is that's where it resets. See where your mouse is right now? That small
right
pullback, that's where it resets. And that's where I think this right here does the same thing. It's either going to break out and do something similar, or it's going to completely reset in that small pullback.
The most encouraging part about this is that Pepe is pumping, and Andy should trade like Pepe beta and ETH beta, and it's doing exactly what it should. It's getting beaten up on the way down when both correct, but it's outperforming both to the upside when they start moving, which is really encouraging, right? Because until it happens, there's always that doubt of like, well, is it going to act and behave like it should? But I love this technical setup, man. I mean, I was bidding the lows as well. Me and Louis were bidding 51 million market cap. Now it's at 67. But I mean, this fractal is very, very interesting. I completely missed this one too. Like I completely missed this setup. Louis found this, so good looking out there, Louis.
And you know what the best part is about this? I'm looking across the board. The strongest coins I can see across the board, flat out, are ETH coins. Like, and that's on base and regular Ethereum. Like Solana coins are still sluggish. They're still kind of hanging out. So it's telling me again that people need to really pay attention to things that are based off of ETH liquidity pools if you're looking at memes. Like some Solana are moving, but not as many as you would think. A lot of
the Solana ones get destroyed and then just don't seem to come back. Like they pump really hard right away. But dude, I mean, they are the king of cheating their own charts, man. Like nothing rugs quicker than a Solana token, unfortunately.
There are so many like graveyard Solana charts right now that are never coming back. But there are so many launches on Solana that, kind of playing off that pattern recognition. I know we've already mentioned a few times on this show, it like you can kind of play on that, right? Because a lot of it is going to be psychologically driven, especially when fees aren't, a part of the decision for why you'd be painting a chart.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I've seen a lot of people complaining about like ETH gas, and I'm like, people just don't understand how bullish expensive ETH gas really is, man. Like I love expensive gas on ETH, man. I love it.
Max, ETH gas is not even freaking expensive.
No, it's not, dude. Last bull market, it was terrible. This is nothing.
It is absolutely not. Like, you are high if you were saying ETH gas is expensive right now.
Well, expensive
like, I was paying
what? Like expensive
no.
in general?
Look, if you played in 2021, you thank God every day that you are not over $100 per transaction.
No, I agree. That's why nobody's using ETH right now. It's because they don't want to go through that again.
Well, no, you're just fudding ETH, Tommy, and you know it.
No, Tommy, look, the reason gas isn't there yet is because retail hasn't flooded it yet. Retail flooded Solana. Absolutely. The fact that they had to shut down the network, that was your first red flag that you were getting near top. Right. And I think a lot of people didn't want to recognize that. And then once it happened. Now, granted, it's pulling back, and I think it will come. I think all these Solana shitcoins will come back, and I think they'll come back with a vengeance. But I think that'll happen later, right? Later on in the cycle. But for now, I think the focus is heavily on ETH, and with ETFs in Hong Kong, like, people can sit there and say whatever they want. They are going to play. They are going to play.
I still think the most bullish catalyst for ETH is the restaking one. Because for those that do not know, what they will do is that they'll offer you to stake your ETH and then restake it to other chains. So you'll get like a double yield, and that will incentivize literally everyone to buy ETH, stake it, and then restake it elsewhere.
This is part of my my long-term ETH to zero theory, by the way.
Yeah, dude, I don't know if the restaking is as bullish as it.
But
at first.
I think the Eigenlayer flop was actually more bullish than people realize.
No,
I really do. No. Look, you can look at it however you want. I'm dead serious, because if that would have been hype, I think that it would have been a top. It would have been a top signal. The fact that it flopped and didn't hype it up, I think is more of a bull signal.
What do you mean it would have been a top?
Listen, maybe it is a case for it to go to zero, but we know that even Luna went to thousands of % before it did. Right.
No, I know.
And at the end of the day, even a flow price action, because narratives can be always interpreted in both bullish and bearish scenarios. What matters is like price following the narrative, and if so, then it's good, right? Sometimes you just have price, but you don't have narrative, which is fine too. But like when you combine narrative and the price, then that's ultimate win.
So I can explain what I meant when I said it would have been a top. So let's look at. I'll use. I know we don't have a lot of time. I'll use Solana as an example. Solana shutting down its network. People throwing money at random wallets, hoping that they'll catch a bid on some shitcoin. Like that's a topping signal, and it was a top. The market basically rolled from there. Ethereum flopping means that there's a lack of interest, and a lack of interest means you're still early. A lot of people don't realize this. Like, capital rotates through this ecosystem like it does anything, and interest comes and goes. And I think interest hasn't hit Ethereum yet, but when it does hit, it's going to hit like a wave, like a tsunami. And when it hits, you're already going to be too late. You have to be ahead of this crowd. You just flat out have to be ahead of them. And if you're not, you're part of the crowd, which means you're not making exponentials.
Oh, he Tommied the chart on me.
Boom.
What a guy.
I still think it's in play, man. I still think it's in play. It's not as clean as it was the other day, but I still think it's in play.
When is that? Is that
This is the 50K range on the 4-hour Bitcoin.
February.
Right.
That looks good.
And then this is right now on like the daily. So the other day it looked better. It looked a lot better. But it was a sweep.
I still think it looks good, man.
I still think it looks good, right? Like this was a sweep of the low, right? And we were saying that, this move could bring a sweep. Obviously, we closed down here, but I think if you can get back up here, that's still in play potentially.
Yeah,
straight up after that.
But I think to this context, though, rhymes not repeats is part of the conversation, and this is still rhyming.
What level do you need to see reclaim for that to still be considered maybe valid in your mind, Tucker?
Well, there's like the
The limp wiener pattern.
Yeah, there's that. Like,
That's like a horn pattern, technically. I think I read a textbook. It's a horn
yeah.
pattern. Yeah.
I mean, I would need to see like, definitely like 60, probably 62s. I mean,
We're all looking at the same levels. I say 65
Yeah.
is your real confirmation, but
yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I
Above
agree.
this high, but
62 is like, okay, we're almost
where you
there.
can start entertaining it. Yeah.
You can start bull posting, even though I've been bull posting the whole time.
because like technically what happened here was like this high was this high, right? And you got up to it and then you nuked and then it just went, right?
Yep.
So we could do that and then just
So we're looking for like a local inverse head and shoulders now. What we want to see.
yeah, I mean, I guess technically that's like what this was, right?
Yeah, kind of.
Kind of. Yeah.
I like
Basically,
it.
like reclaim and then don't lose this low again. Like you can't lose 60K again if you reclaim it.
Yeah.
Really, is what's happening.
After the reclaim, though. So you
Yeah.
could still stay below here for now and maybe even go a little deeper. But once you reclaim, you can't come back below reclaim.
Yeah.
I just like we had the Bitcoin halving 2 weeks ago. We bounced off of the bottom moving average of the pi cycle top indicator. Barring some really poor economic data that comes out later this week, like we have US unemployment numbers tomorrow, I just don't really see the case for us going full-blown risk off during a Fed pause when we didn't have that type of language yesterday during FOMC. So again, barring some surprise, which I'm not expecting tomorrow, I think we're gonna probably set the quarterly low if we haven't already, like right now. Like I think this is probably your Q2 low.
There was actually some bullish info here. Could you? So just real quick, could I get the chart real quick?
Yeah.
Or not the chart, but the screen. We'll say. I don't. Hold on. Let me make sure I'm sharing screen and not sharing chart real fast. Hold on 1 second. Stop. Present.
I didn't know you could save drawings like that. You got to show me how to do that. That was sick.
So
this? Oh, Max can show you how to do that.
Oh,
Max
yeah,
is the
I need
folder
that in my
king.
life.
So
Yeah.
let's.
Folders change the game, man.
Yeah.
Could you shoot it over to my screen real quick, Tucker?
There we
So
go.
this is actually pretty bullish. U.S. Treasury announces first Treasury buy.
Can you zoom in
operation.
a little bit, Will? That's a little
Oh,
that's
yeah,
a little
let me
small. We
try
can't
it.
really see that. Can
I
you
don't
like
know if
blow
I
that
can.
up a little bit more? Yeah. There we go. That's much better.
Okay. Whoa.
That's
Hold on.
fine. We can still see that.
All right. So U.S. Treasury announces first Treasury buyback. This is by Marty Party. Operation since 2002. So the U.S. Treasury is launching its first buyback program since 2002. They didn't do a buyback in 2008. They didn't do any buybacks in 2020 during the pandemic. This is the first time they bought back their treasuries. So they're trying to keep, basically their treasuries where they are. And this is why, like, when people are like, oh, they're offloading. No, they're actually buying. So this is actually positive for markets. I don't think a lot of people really know this or saw this. But this is very, very positive for markets. This is essentially QE, right? It's essentially QE. So the Treasury is launching its first buyback program since 2002, scheduled to start May 29th. So that's just recently is when they started their buyback program. The program is designed to improve liquidity in the Treasury market and is expected to run through July 2024. So May, June, July is when the expectations are. So if the market were to completely U-turn reversal from here, I would say that this is part of it. The Treasury plans to hold weekly liquidity support buybacks of up to $2 billion per operation, with up to $500 million allocated for tips, Treasury inflation protected securities. This initiative aims to ensure the Treasury market remains the deepest and most liquid in the world. Addressing concerns about market functioning and resilience. Addressing what are they addressing here? Could you read that for me, Tommy? What are they addressing here?
Addressing with the market functioning and resilience. I mean, it's like what we've been talking about, man. I mean, they've been trying to hedge systemic risk through shorting volatility and through other derivatives like zero DTEs.
What does this say right here?
A bank bailout.
In my opinion, this is a bank bailout. Again, what happened during the last bank bailout, Tommy? Which direction did the market go?
Well, it went up because liquidity was pumped in the market. But
March 2023.
Is this liquidity going to be backdoor QE, or is it going to be strictly going to banks? Is the better question.
Either way, it will see its way into the economy. That's the point at the end of the day. If it goes to banks, banks will be paying their customers. Customers will spend in the money, right? If it's backdoor QE that doesn't go to banks, it's still going to see its way into the economy through payment to basically the employees, so on and so forth. Like, people don't understand, like, backdoor QE is backdoor QE for a reason, right? And so in that scenario, it's backdoor QE based off of what is actually going on in the market. So essentially what they're doing is they're bailing out these banks, and that money sees its way into the economy regardless. And then when the bank ends up getting their bonds back, so the bank will pay them back now, right? But the bank will get more money back in the future on the bailout. And I think that's what a lot of people don't really think about when they're looking at this. They're just looking at it like, oh yeah, blah blah blah. It really doesn't matter. The market's going to price this in. That's the point. The market is going to price this in, and I think that's kind of what we're seeing right now with this current bounce back is the market pricing in this scenario played out. So I just wanted to point that out, just as like part of the conversation before we ended it all. But I think that's something to keep in mind.
I do want to push back a little bit, Will, because equities haven't necessarily pushed up that much. I mean, we had a really rejection candle yesterday on a lower time frame.
I mean, to me, this looks like a high time frame consolidation range, and that's a pretty big bounce.
So we have about 10 minutes left in the show. I want to give Louis the screen again. I got him pulled up here on Total 3. Louis, we got about 10 minutes left, man. I'm going to ask you to just cook us a meal, brother. Everybody's hungry. They want some breakfast. Let's cook.
I'll give you guys some context and some bull hopium here. This is Total 3 excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum. So this is strictly total market cap of altcoins. And if you want to target here, I mean, we're not even back to the all-time high from 2021. We're sitting at 624 billion. The all-time high for altcoin market caps around 1 trillion. So if you're calling top here, you're not looking at the bigger picture. And I mean, if we can continue, I mean, this is just a speculative, parabola here, but I mean, I'm looking at a $1 trillion altcoin market cap probably by August. If this is the local bottom here, that's what I'm looking at. And that's what I'm looking for. And then, like, realistically, we not only just reached the old all-time high, as you can see here, back in 2021. This is the 2017 altcoin mania. We not only come back to the old all-time high, we smash it normally. So that's what I'm looking at. Let's get back to the old all-time high, 1 trillion market cap for altcoins first. But I mean, like I said, people are calling like altcoin season's over, the market's done. Like, we haven't even gotten here yet. So that's what we got to look forward to. And that's what I'm going to be watching for altcoins. And I really do think out of this pullback, Bitcoin has been leading most of this run. I really do think we're going to see altcoins start to lead and push and lead this market moving forward.
I totally agree. And what do you make of Bitcoin dominance kind of pulling back from its local highs here, and ETH BTC, of course, looking like it's trying to hold its lows? Do you think that top is in on BTCD and bottoms in on ETH BTC, or it's going to continue to bleed down for ETH BTC and grind higher for Bitcoin dominance?
This is what I think right here. I think that was the deviation. like you've been saying, Max, like this is historically what it does, right? Like this was probably what, January 2021. It has that. Sorry, I didn't have this chart ready, but it has that final impulse up, deviates, and then just crashes down. So I think, I mean, this is not as dramatic, but I mean, let's be real. Altcoins are taking market share of the market. People want to play in altcoins. You know what I mean? The retail, that's what they're looking at. That's they're coming in and they're going right into meme coins or going into altcoins. So I don't expect this to go much higher. Can it for sure? But I think this is that was the false breakout for sure. And I think it's going to be lower from here. I think that was the peak for Bitcoin dominance.
Nice. What else are you looking at? Any individuals, any plays that you're high conviction on?
Let's see here. I mean, obviously Pepe, Andy, Caspa. I like the payment sector. I feel like that's like the most undervalued sector in crypto. And just for context, like with all the institutions coming, BlackRock, all these ETFs, I feel like the payments has been like an undervalued for a long time. And I feel like that's like once
Don't tell me that's Altcoin.
That's Tel. I'm bullish, Tel, man. I was buying down the lows here, and I think this has huge potential.
It does. Canada's using it.
It had a big run up, and now we're coming back into high time frame demand here. This has big potential. They have money transmitter licenses, and once these institutions and all the TradFi money is over Bitcoin, and they want to start moving down the risk curve, I mean, a major use case for crypto is payments. You know what I mean? Like if you've seen like the systems that these institutions use, like the financial advisors and the banks, like money is just like trying to get assets from point A to point B and sending money here and there. It's just slow. It's clunky. It's just horrible. So I really think that they're going to look at crypto, and I think their use case that they're going to want and use it for is payments, assets, point A to point B with, cheap, fast. Not clunky, not having to wait 3 days, not having to have middlemen hold money, hold assets and accounts just for transferring money A to B. So I do like, I like the payments. I like Tel. This is one I rode last cycle. It went on an absolute tear. Let me put it in log here. This one on an absolute run last cycle. This did about 42,000%. I didn't catch this whole move. I think I started buying around here, wrote it up, turned like 1K into like 15K on this run here. But we're basing here, and I really do think we're definitely going to get back to the old all-time high of 5-6 cents. But I got targets for 25 cents on Tel.
Bro, this is an OG altcoin from when I was just getting started. I love Telcoin, man.
Yeah.
I've kept an eye on this chart because when it runs, there's literally nothing that runs harder than Telcoin when it's trending. It's kind of absurd, honestly.
And like their team's working. Like they might have the first crypto bank. Like that's like people aren't paying attention to this stuff. And this is what I'm watching. Like they might have like one of the first cryptocurrency banks. Like that's huge. So I think it's a good spot to buy if you wanted to. Like this is coming right back into high time frame demand for me. Like I scooped some more up here, even when I was buying at the lows.
Telcoin was the normie coin everybody was saying to $1 in 2021. But I will say this: it was the first one to partner with Canada. They had the whole thing with that as far as payment systems, and I think they are going to do some big things going into the future. I think like money transfer and XRP makes the most sense, but so does Stellar, right? Like those two are just like literal fractions of a penny to move money in seconds. So speed and cost is more in their favor, but I'm never going to tell people like XRP to $359 because I have a brain.
I got a bag.
But I do think there's a lot of potential with those two as far as like banking systems. Like those two are built for that. That's what they're built for.
Yep. Yeah, they're just manipulating it with the case, and they're waiting for the release. When they do,
a new Jackass reveal.
The price will run.
Sure about that, bro?
Jackass is Arnold. I did have one more. Are you still going through your charts?
I'm good. I'm good. Go ahead.
I do have one more chart, Max, if we can do that real quick before
We got 3 minutes, Will.
I'll be
You
fast.
can do it in 3
I'll be
minutes
really
if you
fast.
got it.
I'll be really fast. So for those of you saying 60 BTCD, take your head out of the microwave. Let's just cover one more thing real quick, and it was DXY, right? So I saw somebody in the chat today. You don't have to name what chat. Told me the dollar was bullish. Look at oil. Look at dollar. When you put the two together, it's called a petrodollar. They're going to roll. They're going to roll. High time frame trend. It's coming back to retest. You're cooked. You are basically here playing around saying the dollar is bullish. You're playing the mid range. This thing's rolling back down. It is 100% rolling back down. Look, I won't. Okay, I know people are going to start trolling me. It's 99.9% rolling back down. There, is that better for people? But
it's always about the
ultimately-
time frame, Will. So like one person can be looking at H1 saying it's bearish, then the other is looking at the daily, he will tell you it's bullish, then you're looking at weekly, he'll say it's bearish, right? And if you just say it's bearish and he's looking at a different time frame, you guys will naturally argue. It's like when people say capitalism and then one thing in his head something completely else. So it's always very, very important to understand what everyone else means with his statements.
Yeah. So mine's high time frame. That's it at the end of the day. And if these are going to roll, assets are going to run.
All right, guys, we're at an hour 20. We got to call it here. Guys, thank you so much for being here. As always, this was Market Check, special edition with our friend Louis. Everybody needs to go follow him right now. We got a bunch of Twitter accounts down in the description. So his is the first one. Go follow him. He just sliced through 2K. I was just watching his account. He's blowing up right now, guys. He's a micro cap. Everybody go follow him. Louis, thanks so much for joining us, man. I'm going to kick it over to you, Snorlax, to say a final farewell.
Real quickly before I say my farewell, I'm going to put this comment up. Study Grail puppets. Had to shill one of my bags real quick though, guys. But thanks for coming, Louis. We had a great show today, guys, across the board. Real quickly, as always, some housekeeping before we wrap up. A reminder, as we've been saying, that we did just release the BB Academy. That is an educational course done by every member on the team. You can get a little bit of flavor of how everybody, individually has their own niches, obviously, in the way that they view and approach the market. So we dive a lot deeper into that in those courses, of course. And, if you're looking for a strong educational base on how to view the markets, I can recommend that to you guys. So as far as our programming goes, guys, Market Check. If you're a Market Check enjoyer, like Louis, for example, we will be back tomorrow. Of course, we are live every single weekday, Monday through Friday, typical start time around 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Not on weekends, just on weekdays. But as you guys can see, we have quite a lot of fun on the show. We cover a ton of different topics. We're live for about an hour to an hour and a half. Every single weekday. So, I mean, we pretty much cover all the technicals that we possibly can from everything going on in the market throughout the week. So if this was your first time tuning in, we hope to have you back. If you are a regular, welcome back. Thank you for continuing to support us and our brand. You're a big reason why the YouTube channel has been growing so quickly. So thank you. Of course, as well, we have our flagship show, Market Talk, which is hosted by the legendary King Wabi. That is a Twitter space where we talk markets in the same way. And I like to say, it always takes a flavor very reminiscent to whatever speakers we have on. So we can talk meme coins, can talk macro, whatever floats your boat on any given day. We can make sure that we, be sure that we will cover it at some point during the week. A lot going on in markets right now, though, guys. A lot of volatility, of course, as well. And Wabi's been covering that as well. So the timing may vary on that show a little bit. So make sure to stay subscribed to our Twitter so you can be notified, not just when we schedule our shows on Twitter, but also be notified when we go live. But yeah, guys, there is a lot going on in markets right now. There's a lot of volatility, a lot of macro events, macro, but there is still a lot of opportunity in the intraday swings, as well as the intra-week, intra-month, and high time frame trends as well. So we hope that we could provide a little bit of nuance and maybe even clarity to you in your trading journey. But that is it from us, guys. And of course, we'll be back tomorrow for another episode. But thanks again for tuning in.